It begins with a young couple who seem to have a perfect relationship. Simon is a caricature artist, while Fabienne runs an art gallery. One day, Simon decides to visit his father on his birthday and take the opportunity to introduce his girlfriend to his family. Upon arriving at his family's house, Simon is greeted by his father, Carl, a successful psychologist who enjoys the company of friends and family. Among the guests, Simon notices a woman named Sonia, whom he doesn't recognize. Simon's mother warmly welcomes them and invites them to join the gathering. During the meal, some guests question Simon about why he left medical school. His father steps in, proudly explaining that Simon is an artist and will be successful. Fabienne adds that Simon has been nominated for an award for his work. Later, Simon's mother asks for his help with Carl's new book, expressing how overwhelmed she feels. However, Simon declines, saying he's too busy with his art. Simon observes his father alone with Sonia and becomes curious. He asks his father's friend about her and learns that Sonia is his father's new secretary. Suddenly, Simon's mother experiences an attack, and Simon quickly comes to her aid, concerned because she hasn't had such episodes in a long time. The next day, Simon meets with Fabienne to show her his new sketches for an upcoming exhibition, but Fabienne isn't impressed. At that moment, Simon's mother asks to speak with him privately, once again requesting his help with Carl's book. She explains that if he doesn't help, Carl will go on vacation with Sonia, whom she suspects of having an affair with Carl. Reluctantly, Simon agrees to help to save his parents' marriage. Fabienne isn't pleased with Simon's decision, fearing it will impact their art gallery project. Simon reassures her that he'll manage to complete both tasks on time. Simon goes to his family's house, where the office is also located. Carl explains how to transcribe his lectures, and during their conversation, Carl confesses to having a relationship with Sonia. This revelation saddens Simon. As Simon's parents leave for their vacation, he begins working on the transcription. That evening, they attend an award ceremony where Simon is nominated, but he doesn't win. Fabienne consoles him, saying that the judges don't understand true art. The next day, while Simon continues with the transcription, Sonia approaches him, complaining about his lack of art knowledge. That night, Simon struggles to find inspiration for his drawings and tries to distract himself by talking to his roommate. The following morning, he overhears Sonia arguing with Carl on the phone about feeling used. Carl later calls Simon, instructing him to keep interactions with Sonia strictly professional. An assistant tells Simon that Sonia was once a patient of Carl's, piquing Simon's curiosity. When a young woman arrives looking for Carl, Sonia angrily asks her to leave. At the end of his shift, Simon searches for the USB to transfer the transcripts and finds Sonia crying. He comforts her, and she unexpectedly kisses him, leaving Simon confused. The next day, unable to stop thinking about the kiss, Simon seeks clarification from Sonia, who dismisses it as a silly impulse. Simon decides to investigate Sonia's past and finds her patient files. Before he can read them, a delivery man arrives with a bouquet of roses from Carl to Sonia, further frustrating Simon. Returning to the office, Sonia questions Simon about the roses, but he feigns ignorance. Simon then overhears a conversation between Sonia and his father, discovering that Carl considers him a failure. Furious, Simon tells Sonia that Carl views her the same way. At his own workplace, Simon sees Fabienne organizing the gallery with the new artist who won the award, adding to his frustration. Carl calls Simon to reprimand him, but Simon quits, only to be convinced by his mother to continue for her sake. Fabienne also reveals that Simon's paintings are no longer part of their projects, breaking his heart. Simon returns to the office, finding Sonia searching for the key to the files. He gives her the files he couldn't read earlier. Sonia, saddened by Carl's comments, kisses Simon passionately, leading to an intimate moment in the office. They decide to continue their affair and spend more time together. Simon's joy is short-lived as his roommate informs him about Fabienne's close relationship with the new artist. At a party that night, Simon sees Fabienne having fun. Feeling guilty, he confesses his affair with Sonia, breaking Fabienne's heart. She ends their relationship and leaves. Simon receives a message from Sonia inviting him to her apartment. Without hesitation, Simon goes to her apartment, setting the stage for further complications in their tangled relationships. Sonia takes Simon to her bedroom, and they end up spending the night together again. Sonia, who had already prepared dinner, invites Simon to the table. After dinner and some chatting, Simon spends the night with Sonia. When he wakes up, she's not there, but she leaves a note saying she'll be back soon. A few minutes later, Simon is surprised when his father, Carl, enters the apartment. Carl is equally surprised to see his son there. Carl understands the situation and tells Simon that Sonia always wanted a baby, and since he can't give her one, they've had many problems. At that moment, Sonia returns and kisses Simon in front of his father, then asks him to leave. As Simon gets dressed, Sonia asks if he told his father anything before she arrived. Simon responds that she already exposed everything to his father and that their relationship was more about retaliation against his father than any affection for Simon. Sonia admits it was about getting back at his father and for Simon as well. Feeling overwhelmed, Simon returns to his apartment and receives a call from his mother, who tells him that Carl is going to live with Sonia. At that moment, Simon's mother has another attack, and Simon rushes to help her. She blames him for making things worse and believes it's his fault that Carl abandoned her. This hits Simon hard, as he feels responsible for everything. Simon goes to the studio to try to win Fabienne back and begs her to forgive him, but she tells him to walk away and accept that it's over. Simon returns to his apartment, destroys all his work, and has an attack that lands him in the hospital. His father visits and tells him he never wanted to ruin him with his personal life. Simon accuses Carl of ruining his mother's life and causing her to lose her mind. Carl insists he loves Simon's mother and wants to be with her but also loves Sonia. A few months later, Simon is now enrolled in medical school and attends the presentation of his father's new book. There, he sees Sonia is pregnant, and his mother tells him she will take care of Carl's son because Sonia won't be able to. Sometime later, Simon returns home for another family reunion. Sonia hands him her baby, and he realizes she used him all along to fulfill her and his father's whims. And that's how our story ends.